Hello and welcome to the Investing Bros. I am T Shroom, and we're going to be getting into it today. Ethereum may be getting a big boost from none other than BlackRock. We're going to dive into those details here in just a second, and they are juicy and they're complicated, and I'm going to break them all down for you the best I can here on Investing Bros. You're tuned in to the 9 a.m. show. We go live at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single weekday, and today's Wednesday, so it's a special day at 4 p.m. after the live show. We actually have Bro Time, where if you were a member of the Discord, member of the YouTube channel, you get access to Tim and I's behind-the-stage thoughts on the world, on the markets. So let's go ahead, without further ado, and jump right on into the Bitcoin charts. Bitcoin here is still trading below the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the daily chart, and the red histograms are continuing to accelerate, albeit at a descending rate here. We are starting to see the gaps in between the histograms here start to decline. What does that mean? That means that the momentum to the downside is slowing for the most part, right? Those MACD lines are still pointing down, but there is a little bit of hope, a shred. A shred is a good way to describe it. A shred of hope here in that this gap here in between this histogram and this histogram is smaller than this gap here, right? Hopefully that makes sense for you out on the daily chart. Now, taking a look here at these lines, these are the monthly lines I had drawn. Let me just go ahead and give you all the reference again. If you zoom out to the monthly charts, right? So this is a zoomed in, much more zoomed in version of this chart here, right? You can see that these lines, they coincide with these old highs from the last bull market. You've heard of the bull market and the bear market. This was the last significant bull market here, and as you can see, these lines here that I have drawn on this zoomed in chart coincide with these highs, this wick high, okay? These candlestick highs back here, and this wick high, and then this wick low and this wick high here for, and then those levels respectively are 53, 58, and 64.5. All right. So zooming back in to, and that's on the monthly chart. So each candlestick represents a month of trading for Bitcoin. Okay, going back into the daily chart here, you can see that that top level, right, is likely to be rejected here. Okay, so it was a significant level back in the last bull market. My guess is that since we sliced down through it on the daily, we are more than likely going to go back and touch it, get rejected, and then come back lower and test 58, right? Sucks, right? Because that means Bitcoin go lower. It sucks. I think that's my base case, and that could potentially change, right? That could potentially change if we can get back up above and especially close a candlestick back up above 64.7. Call it 64.5 would be pretty good as well. Let's go ahead and go down to the 4-hour and take a look. Before we do, you can see that the Lux ALGO oscillator matrix here is continuing to show that a sell-off is expected as the momentum is continuing to the downside. Money flow is decreasing. We're actually not seeing too much in terms of deltas, reversal to the upward, the downside. Last one we got here was all the way back on March 9th. So there's not a lot of calls there, at least on the daily. Let's go down to the 4-hour, though, and see what is different. Now, going into the 4-hour, now each candlestick is actually 4 hours of trading data, okay? Of price movement summarized by one candlestick. Out here, this is the monthly chart, right? Each candlestick is summarizing an entire month of price action. Okay, so taking a look here, you can see that we have already rejected once off of the 64.7 level here. It provided support back here in March 17th. It was ultimately sliced through, though, on the second test of that level, came back, found support here around 62.3, and then rejected off that. And then, yes, last night's lows got down all the way to 60, okay? 60.5, 60. I'll go ahead and say the whole number. How about that? 60,700 is about where we wicked down to for Bitcoin spot price here on the Coinbase chart. Now we're making a test higher. We're seeing if we can get back up to that 64 level. Another relevant level, I'd say, is the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the 4-hour back at 65,700. If we can get back up to that level and flip that, that would be very, very bullish. But my guess is the following. If you go to the weekly chart, now we're going to candlesticks that summarize the week, a week of trading. What do you see here? You see a very, very huge move to the upside here with very few pullbacks. This is a 320% move from back in January 2nd, right? So basically the beginning of the year to I didn't even go up to the wick. Let's go to the same candlestick, January 2nd. About 358% move if you go trough to wick, top wick here. So we needed a pullback. We've had little micro pullbacks here, little whatever smaller than a micro pullback right there, right? We have had some movements down in 2024. We have had some quote unquote pullbacks, but right now we're seeing one that could be, so far has been somewhat dramatic, could be even more dramatic. If we go wick to trough here, we're almost at an 18% pullback at this point. And Tim and I have been harping, right? We've been a broken record saying 20% pullbacks, 30% pullbacks, and even 40% pullbacks have happened before in this phase of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle that we are in, okay? So to see a pullback of 18% is something that we have been expecting and reminding you all of the possibility of, okay? So here we are, March 20th. We're almost done with March. We're getting to the close of a monthly candle, right there. I'm on the weekly chart, but we're getting to the close of the monthly candle. Let's go take a look at that. The monthly candle here is still green, okay? Now, it's had a huge wick higher, price discovery. It's trying to figure out how high can this thing go before the halving. The answer to that question is likely 73,777, right? Do we go back and test higher than that before the halving, before April 18th? Right? April is the next month. I'm guessing that probably price discovery now is going to be to the downside, right? So the bulls have been in control. They've said, hey, thank you very much. We're going to trade on the upside of the monthly Bollinger Band for an entire candle. We're still up above that top line of the Bollinger Band, signaling what? High volatility, right? So if we go back down to the 4-hour, we can expect continued price exploration to the downside. Now, if you were a trader, this may be where you want to exit, right? You may want to exit here when we are trying to figure out if we're going to slice through 64.7 or if we're going to reject off 64.7 and make a move lower, right? Probably down to 58 is kind of what I'm thinking. This also coincides with the top line of the golden pocket, right? So 58, 58.3, 58, I should say 58.6, 58, now that we're getting and talking about it specifically, 58.4, 58 would be just below these lines. I think that we could also come back and test the bottom of the golden pocket, right? The golden pocket is comprised of the 0.65 and the 0.61, right? And that's right here. That could bring us all the way back down to 56,200 per Bitcoin, okay? So that's kind of what I'm thinking is in the cards, right? Something that could happen. Let me illustrate another case of something I think that could happen though, and that would be the following. Let me get those fibs back up there. Something that could happen is that this following news that I'm about to cover, this catches fire and a bunch of money starts pouring into Bitcoin and says, hey, this is the pullback we've been waiting for. Let's go ahead and buy it up. We get back up above 64, right? 64.7. We confirm that now as support. We get back above the midline of the Bollinger Band, right? 65. And then we're off to the races and price discovery is back to the upside. But at this point in time, I'm thinking that is not going to happen. I think that's the less likely case. I think that there are plenty of dollars that want to swap into Bitcoin, and they're very eager to do that. But they're looking at this chart, right, with experienced eyes, and they're saying, this looks like it's going to go lower. This looks like I'm going to have an opportunity to swap my dollars for more Bitcoin in the future. So I'm going to forego that swap into Bitcoin today for my ability to actually purchase more Bitcoin in the future. That is the logic of a seasoned and experienced investor. What they are not doing is selling what they have now as an investor, right? As a trader, it's a little different because you're trying to maximize every little bit that you can. You may want to go ahead and sell at this level here, right? And then buy back lower. If you are not a trader, right? Or if you have a trading and an investing portfolio, which I recommend, then you would not do that with your investing portfolio. You would wait. You would just wait, and you would use your income, perhaps from your trading portfolio, ding, 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 right? Or from your fiat mining operations, and you would just buy back down here. Now, could it go lower from there? It absolutely could. But let's not count our chickens before they hatch, right? Let's have a plan. So if it does get back down to 58.6, I'm not deploying 100% of my dry powder, right? I may be deploying 50% or 75% and then 25% and then, on down the line. All right. Well, that's going to be our TA here. I've been doing a lot more TA in the mornings just because I've been sensing that there's a little bit more panic after the euphoria of the highs that we got up to. And guys, look, at the end of the day, things are looking good on the charts. As someone who's been in Bitcoin for a little while, definitely not as long as some folks, but as someone who's been in crypto and Bitcoin for a while, my confidence in my investments in crypto are unshaken. What I'm seeing on the charts is totally normal for this cycle, right? And we will let you know if things start to become abnormal. But right now, everything is looking good, and I have a big smile on my face because I know that by the end of the year, these prices are going to be higher than they are now. Now, do I know that with 100% certainty? Of course not, right? But I know based on the way that these assets have behaved in the past that that is the most likely outcome. And so I invest accordingly and I trade accordingly. All right, let's get into some of the news here. Before we do, though, I want to go ahead and jump on into the chat and see Puddles here jumping in, saying what's up, saying heyo, and we got Mike Play saying good morning, bros. Nathan Closter, what's up, Nathan? Saying woot woot. And we've got a bunch of other people. D. Lee Crypto said, shout out to T-Shroom. Will Tim be back for the mornings eventually? I think that question was asked recently. We do not anticipate Tim coming back on anytime soon. We don't have any plans for that, but it's not something that we don't want to happen. It's something we want to happen. It's just the logistics aren't there. DPG604 said, T-Shroom only YouTuber who is never late. Wow. That's actually a really high compliment. I appreciate that. French Toaster said, Mr. T. Shroomski. Yes, I am here. Not late. I appreciate it, guys. And then Ada Ace speaking the ultimate truth. Smash the like button. I love it. Let's take a look here at the Ethereum chart because it is the main coin that we're going to be talking about today. You'll notice it doesn't look too different from Bitcoin here, as it has had a nice move to the upside here, topping out at around 4,000 and change, 4,009, and then since then has really had a retrace of about 25%. Where we're rocking out right now is 18% to the downside of those new 2024 highs. So very exciting. Of course, Ethereum, going out to the monthly chart, let's take a look at it. Looking at the monthly chart, we can see that Ethereum has not yet reached its all-time highs, unlike Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has reached its all-time highs. Ethereum, not quite yet, right? So, that's something to consider. If you're looking to deploy, right, dry powder, you may want to straddle these two assets. Now, we're going to get to a news story that has an opinion that would make you believe that probably Bitcoin has more upside in this side of July, meaning in the first 2 quarters, probably Bitcoin will have more upside than Ethereum. But make no mistake that Ethereum will at some point in the bull market outperform Bitcoin by percentage gain. Okay. One thing I'm noticing here on the monthly chart is the candlestick is barely green for Ethereum. Bitcoin is much more decidedly green. So that is something to consider. There we could see a March close for a red monthly candlestick for Ethereum. That would be really interesting to see. What you'll also notice is that out on the monthly chart, we are also seeing Ethereum still trading outside of the upper Bollinger Band there. So that is bullish, very bullish. The longer it can do that, the more certainty that we're in a similar move like this, right? Because all through the bear market, you don't see Ethereum get outside of the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly, right? That's only back when you start to see a heavy incline do we get entire candlesticks printing outside of that upper Bollinger Band, right? Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that has provided some clarity to some people who are looking at these charts and saying, what the heck is all this alien gobbledygook? I try to do my best to decipher what it can mean for you and for your crypto portfolio. And I thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, let's go ahead and jump right on into the news. Let's get into it now because Ethereum is getting a boost. A boost from whom? A boost from whom might be the question that you're asking here. It's a boost from BlackRock as they're creating tokenized assets fund, the SEC filings show. Now, this is big for a couple of different reasons. Let's get into the details. Investment giant BlackRock filed documents with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday to launch a tokenized asset fund. Registered in the British Virgin Islands in 2023, the BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund will act as a pooled investment fund according to BlackRock. The minimum investment accepted from any outside investor is $100,000. In its filing, BlackRock declined to specify the amount of the fund, but applications values range from $1 to $100 million. $1 to $100 million, that's quite a range. I wonder if they mean 1 million to 100 million. Either way, there's application value ranges here. Let's keep going here. Though BlackRock was short on details, the firm registered an application with the SEC for an iShares Ethereum Trust in February. Right, so this was in February. Speculation around the Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund revolves around the fund being Ethereum-based with stablecoin assets in the basket. I see value in having an Ethereum fund, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink told CNBC in January. As I said, these are stepping stones towards tokenization. Now we have a soundbite from Larry as he explains a little bit of what a tokenization really is. Let's take a look, bros. In fact, let's take a listen.
I believe it's so important to be anticipating the next move. I would also say on the beginnings of a ETF Bitcoin, we believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
And so all of that activity presumably would be on the Ethereum blockchain, according to early speculation. Early speculation, of course, being tied to the most tangible, which is that they have also filed the SEC with the SEC and iShares Ethereum Trust, right? Kind of showing that they have kind of tapped Ethereum. Now, I will say that is a rumor, right? That is not for sure. That is not certain. It is 100% squarely in the speculation zone, right? But it does prove pretty good for Ethereum because Ethereum right now on the day does seem to be liking this, right? On kind of in the middle of this big dip, right? This price discovery to the downside, Ethereum is getting a bid. This is Ethereum, if you don't believe me, getting a bid up 2% here, while the rest of the market is kind of crapping the bed, you could say. Pepe up 12%, by the way. Optimism up 8%. So there are definitely some cryptos that the market is saying, yeah, on this dip, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and bid this back up. We're going to scoop this up in heavy volume. VeChain getting a nice bid up here, 2.5%. Nice to see Uniswap up 2.5. So there's a lot of coins here getting a bid on March the 20th, a day when a lot of folks are sitting there looking at their portfolio and being like, oh man, this sucks, right? In the doldrums, here are some of the champions of the bull market so far. AVAX and Solana. Aptos, I wouldn't call that a champion, but it's to the downside here. Near Protocol, Theta Network, the Graph, Cardano, Maker, Tron, Chainlink. So these are all the ones that are down. What you'll notice is these are bigger, right? And they've also had a decent amount of hype recently. Now, one thing I want to linger on here is the downside 10% move here for AVAX. Why? Why would I linger on this? Well, because I think that the other contender for a major tokenization rollout by the biggest wealth manager in the world would have been AVAX, and I think that's why we're seeing a disproportionate sell-off. Like this is the entire top 50 right here. Maybe I'll even go to the top 100 to illustrate this further. If we go to the 24-hour here on the top 100, it did not prove my point. Oh, it's because it's justified to the upside. Okay, so you can see. Okay, excellent here, excellent. We're gonna land it. AVAX is selling off, right? Because it was basically the other option for tokenization, right? AVAX recently has kind of been look, all these blockchains could potentially do tokenization. Everything that Larry Fink was describing, pinning every global asset, every stock, every bond, every international asset, every commodity potentially, every pallet of corn, every pallet of cowhide, whatever it's going to be, could potentially be tokenized on, I would make the argument, a lot of different blockchains, right? Maybe not Bitcoin, but a lot of blockchains. And then from there, you can rebuild the global economy to be a lot more autonomous and kind of AI friendly, where AI can make insights. Anyway, I'm getting more into like the potential for humanity side. AVAX could have been tapped here. The headline, the thumbnail for this video could have been AVAX gets a boost because of tokenization, but it's not. It looks like they're going with Ethereum. At least that's what the early rumor, remember the early rumor is stating. And it's based on speculation. But, the market is bidding up Ethereum today, 2% in the morning here, leading into 9:30. The market opened for the New York Stock Exchange, and it's selling Ethereum to the tune of 10% downside. Okay. So these are just things that we're taking note of. We're making sure that we're understanding, and we're perhaps trading and investing accordingly to the information, not based on what I'm saying, right? Just based on the information. And to some extent, maybe my interpretation. Crux of Crypto said, AVAX and Solana, both massive run-ups before this retracement. Absolutely. So that is also something to consider. Is these coins are just very also kind of overbought, right? Not because they shouldn't be, but I'm not saying they shouldn't be overbought, but they are overbought, right? And this downside that we're seeing today is a decent result of just the technical analysis as well. Let's see what's going on here. DPG604 said, how much money is BlackRock making from these ETFs? Because I'm not seeing any of it going into the Mets. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Does that mean that they own the Mets and the court is not getting shinier? I'm not sure what you mean by that. The Mets. Maybe MET is an acronym for something. But thanks for the comment. Not sure exactly what's going on here. So here's somebody who agrees with me. A 22% pullback needed. Dmitry Marinov gets it. Somebody understands, how markets work. Crypto is a very, very highly volatile asset class, right? There's not really a more volatile asset class, in my opinion. Maybe natural gas this last couple of years has been pretty volatile. So a 20% pullback, it's not even been in one day. It's over the course of several days, is normal, right? It's okay. I'm not selling anything. In fact, I'm sitting here wishing I had more dry powder to deploy. All right, guys. Well, we got a big decision coming today from the U.S. Federal Reserve. Bitcoin, the headline reads here from CoinDesk, Bitcoin rebounds to 65K as investors weigh looming Fed decision risk. This could be playing a factor in the pullback that we're seeing. I tend to lean that it doesn't, because it's so well known that there's going to be a pause for March. But perhaps, as many times in these decisions, the market is also very uncertain, right? There's a lot of uncertainty about what is going to be said by Jerome as he indicates what we could expect for the rest of the year. But Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. But in so many cases, and what I completely expect is he's not going to give clear indication about the rest of the year. He's going to say we're going to make decisions on a case-by-case basis as the data guides us, as the data presents more and more information. Guys, we're going to have Caleb Franson on today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be breaking down that Fed story. What did Jerome say? What was the decision? And this is for all you Fed heads, this is a special decision because we also get an SEP, right? This is extra data that comes out, and we're going to be taking a look at that for sure. Summary of Economic Projections is the acronym SEP. We're having fun here. Ethereum ETFs won't be approved in May, nor should they, some experts are saying here. So if you clicked on this to be bullish on Ethereum, you're going to get a little bit of salad with your steak. Spot Ethereum ETFs will gather more assets if they launch in December versus if they launch in May, wrote Matt Hogan, CIO of Bitwise, on Twitter on Tuesday. TradFi needs more time to digest the Bitcoin ETFs. This is an interesting perspective. Trying to make lemonade out of lemons, perhaps, here is Matt Hogan. The article goes on to say a survey released by Bitwise in early January, however, found substantially less interest in Ethereum among financial advisors. At the end of last year, 71% of respondents favored Bitcoin, comparing to roughly 50-50 split in 2022. 2022, of course, the peak of the bull market, right? Last year, 2021. So it would have been just after, kind of in the aftermath of the top of the bull market, right? Everybody was investors were highly educated on crypto at the time. Now you have a new class of investors, right? And you have a lot of people who've just forgot stuff into the present where we are now. Look, let me make something clear as well. We are not here in the cycle. This is not where we are currently in the cycle. We are here. We are somewhere here in the cycle. Now, we could be back here, just in the beginning. I tend to think we're somewhere probably like closer to here, right? So when we're looking at this is Bitcoin. When we're looking at the cycle, right, that every 4 years Bitcoin has a bull and bear cycle, we're probably somewhere right around in here. At the same time back here, right, Bitcoin got a higher bid than Ethereum. More aggressively was Bitcoin bought versus Ethereum. We're seeing the same thing now. Why? Because people are just learning about crypto in general, or they're remembering that it has a lot of potential and they want to get that second pool for their second home, right? And they want to do that with crypto. So ultimately here, it's going to take some time before folks remember what Ethereum is. And so it's really interesting, Matt Hogan's kind of thesis here is that we really should be happy that we're not going to get a May approval of the spot Ethereum ETF, because likely it will get ignored and kind of overshadowed by Bitcoin's continued ETF inflows. Meaning there's only so much money in the world. There's only so much money that is in a risk tranche that would be interested in deploying into crypto, that it would be better to space it out. And once there's a lot more education in between, basically now and December, is what Matt Hogan is saying. In between now and December, it would be better. The market would be better educated on the potential growth for Ethereum. And there would also be just a lot more bullishness by then, because Bitcoin could presumably be up to 78, 80, 100, 120K by then. Perhaps. Is that my price prediction? No. I'm just trying to further illustrate this example. We're going to land here, guys. This is the Poly market. This is the betting odds for an Ethereum approved in May 31st. This is still down to 25% chance. So don't be getting your hopes up here. Do not be betting the farm that we will be having the Ethereum spot ETF passed in late May, because it's looking like that's not going to happen, according to those who are willing to bet on it, right? So there you go. I think that right now we're going to see a continued boost. The market is interpreting what this means from BlackRock, why they are filing with the SEC now. By the way, that filing was on Thursday, but it's just coming to the media now. But what's going to happen here is Ethereum is going to test higher. The market's going to see, is this significant enough to perhaps to perhaps flip this entire movement to the downside and say, no, thank you very much. Oh, look at this. Red candlestick now for Ethereum. We were just talking about it this morning. Now it's red. The market's going to say, can we not only flip this back green, but can we go back up to the top of this wick, back up at 4,000, right? And maybe even make a move higher based on this news, right? Based on the potential for BlackRock, using Ethereum's blockchain to tokenize the world. There's a lot of potential there. The market has to wake up. It's only 9:30 right now. Market's just barely open. The market has to wake up, understand what's going on, understand the gravity of this. But by power hour, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and certainly by market close, we should have some good data on how significantly this is going to impact Ethereum. My guess is that Ethereum will test higher today, but ultimately this is not going to be the news that Ethereum has been waiting for. But it could be. We could see a 10% day for Ethereum today to the upside. It's possible based on this level of news. It's just all in the mood of the market. How much extra cash do some of these funds have to deploy further into crypto? My guess is that they've been making so much investments in Bitcoin ETFs and around just kind of the Bitcoin frenzy here that there's not a lot of dry powder to rotate into Ethereum right now. Now, that'll be different here in a few months. But a lot of folks also are going to be sitting on their hands waiting for the Fed outcome today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're staying hydrated today, guys. I say that every day, but it's important. It's important to stay hydrated for your brain. If you're making financial decisions, you need to be in top shape. Make sure you're getting plenty of exercise and plenty of sleep, and make sure that you're maintaining your relationships with people that love you and that you love. If those things are not happening, you're not at your peak performance in the terminal, whether you're trading or investing. Make sure you're doing all of those things to make sure you are pursuing holistic health. And please, if you're trading, use a stop loss. I'm T. Shroom. We'll be seeing you here with Caleb Franzen at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait to do it. Can't wait to see you there. We're going to have a lot of fun. And there might be a couple of pictures of cute little dogs. We'll just have to see.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.